Let's take this old worn-out denim visor cap and copy it into a pattern without having to take it apart and stitch up a brand new, fresh and lively visor cap. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. And here it is again, this terribly stained, old, worn-out, and rather ill-fitting visor cap that we're going to copy without having to take it apart, just like I promised, and make it into a brand new, fresh cap. So I'm taking this piece of muslin. It can be a piece of paper. It's helpful if you can see through it. And I'm just going to pin along the existing stitch line of the cap by looking and mostly by feeling with my fingers where I'm at. So pinning along that edge where the cap meets the brim, I'll carefully pin along. Now because it's sturdy, I can just take the pencil and trace the brim without placing pins at this point. And then I'll just kind of connect the dots between the pins. Now this is all very raw. It's going to take refinement. It's going to take patience. We are making a pattern that might be a little on the large side, but better large than too small. We want to be generous and add seam allowances. So I'm going to cut this piece apart and indeed cut on the seam allowances, about 1/2 inch. Once having done so, I kind of want to evaluate which side of it I like better than the other, and it's the pointy side that's going to be better. So I'm going to just kind of finger press this in half, and I'll end up placing this piece on the fold twice. Okay, time to copy the wedge. There are 6 wedges that make up this cap. So pinning the piece of muslin or your piece of paper or whatever you have that can accomplish this, at the center top, I am again going to eyeball and finger my way along with pin placement, ever so carefully. Again, this wedge probably won't come off here perfectly shaped, but I have a remedy for that, just like we did with the brim. Placing a pin in the center will help me get that stabilized. Now I am running my pencil, connecting those dots. Removing the pins, I evaluate what I've got here, and yes, it's lopsided, but I just kind of fix that by eyeballing my pattern. Yeah, I'm going to like the right side better than the left side, so I'm going to add the seam allowances, fold it in half lengthwise, and cut it out. Checking and double checking that it looks like it fits. Perfecting the cut. Looks better on the non-pencil side. Now I do want to note the ponytail opening in back. So I'll place my wedge on that wedge and just trace that opening. I might need it, I might not. Here's the fabric. Isn't it beautiful? It's denim, dark denim that is going to hide a lot of errors if need be, and that embroidery was already on there. I didn't have to do that embroidery. That's probably why I snatched it up and bought it a long time ago. So I have cut out my 2 pieces of the brim. Here's what they look like. One side is the facing, one side is the upper brim. So I have 2 pieces of each of the 3 cutouts. Now I'm just going to place those pieces on the hat, checking yet again. Looks like this is all going to work out real well. I start by stitching together 3 of the pie pieces. Then I narrow hem the ponytail opening. All that remains for the cap is to stitch the long center seam. Before I do that though, I do want the points of my wedges to be pristine. See how there's a little bit of a gap here? Let me show you closer. See how there's a little bit of a gap there? Those seams should really be touching, as evidenced here. See, now we really have a true point. Comparing, you can see I have a true point there next to the gap. Try to achieve that. All right, I am ready to pin on the top of the visor. I have done so. I'm going to stitch it right on, having carefully matched centers. There it is on with a generous seam allowance of probably about 3/4 inch. That will allow for a nice hefty hem around the rest of it. Time to stitch on the facing, but first we do want to narrow hem that curved edge. Come on, you can do it. It's a little tricky, but you can do it. Having done that and stitched it on, I'm now ready to turn it right side out, but first, I've cut a piece of thick fusible interfacing. This happens to be a Peltex product. It is fusible on one side. You could take a piece of cardboard or use your old caps insert. So I'm going to press that in next, sew it all in. I have gone ahead and hemmed up about a 3/4 inch hem all the way around. I'll do a little more top stitching on the brim. Very good. But where's that ponytail opening? I'll tell you, here's what happened. The original cap doesn't fit that well on the top, nor did this, of course, because we copied it. So I needed to take it in a substantial amount, that center seam, which did away from the ponytail opening. But that's okay. I can still open up the seam at the back there and allow for the ponytail. So I'll just go ahead and trim that seam down. Do a lot of pressing open of all the seams, zigzag stitching them down and over the seams for reinforcement, a lot of straight stitch top stitching on the brim, and we have arrived. Look, make sure you check your ponytail opening, don't guess. Put your ponytail through. There, you can see now how all my seams are open. Painstaking as it was worth it. Flattened out and zigzag stitched down. You can't really see on this dark cap. All right, I'm pretty satisfied with this end result. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed this content. Really good job.